This is writer-director Adam Leon. He was born and raised here, in Manhattan. His first feature, Gimme the Loot, was filmed here. And his second film, Tramps, takes place right about here. Sticking to your home turf may seem limiting, but Leon's mastery and familiarity with New York, along with his use of movement, music, and character, is what gives his films his signature energy. His first film, Gimme the Loot from 2012, follows two teenage graffiti artists as they try to make money in order to get inside the Mets baseball field so they can become famous on the street art scene. Many unsuccessful cons lead them to an attempt to steal jewels from a well-to-do white girl. Gimme the Loot won the Grand Jury Prize at South by Southwest that year, on top of winning Leon the Someone to Watch Award at the Independent Spirit Awards in 2013. His next movie, Tramps, debuted at the Toronto Film Festival in 2016, and after receiving critical praise, it was bought and released by Netflix. Tramps tells the story of two down-on-their-luck 20-somethings as they try to correct a shady deal gone wrong and find love along the way. Many see both films as extensions of one another, and it's hard not to. Besides the fact that the premise and setting of each of the movies are similar, Leon uses many of the same techniques in both. A key element is the use of movement.
The movie is about movement, to me. People who are stuck, somewhat complacent in their stuck lives, and they're sort of there's a match that gets lit. And through that, they're forced to move.
And both films are chock full of it. Cars, trains, people, and running. Lots and lots of running. It reminds me a lot of the Safdie brothers, more New York filmmakers, whose films are constantly moving as well. Leon's characters are always on the move, and he uses the New York landscape to reflect that. This is also highlighted, and in some ways contrasted, by his camera work. One technique that I noticed many times throughout both of his films was having the camera sit in one spot as it follows the characters talking and walking through the streets. He mentions it here.
I knew that we could just put a camera on a corner and just shoot them and capture, because we really had no money for that. And then I love the energy that came with that.
The choice of having a relatively stable camera emphasizes the movement of the characters and the general movement of the city around them. These are two of my favorite sequences from each movie for that very reason. They run for about a minute each, so I've sped them up here, but you can feel the hustle and bustle of the city as the characters navigate their way through it. Another important element of Leon's energy is the music. His choice of music goes hand in hand with the last element, and in an interview about Tramps, Leon said that he looked for songs with movement, joy, and energy, that also had some, quote, dirt on the tracks. He took a similar approach for Gimme the Loot, and I think the soundtracks really reflect the eclectic, fast-paced, and a bit dirty city of New York, and contribute to the light and quick energies of the movies. On the flip side, Leon also knows when to slow things down. He uses more mellow and emotional songs for the quieter scenes, leading to the very endearing character moments you'll find in his work. Speaking of characters. When I say characters, I don't just mean the main ones. Both films are filled with fabulous side characters, each with great personalities and great performances. All of the characters live in a bit of a moral gray area, no one being an outstanding person, however no one, even the real criminals, are completely evil. This type of character periphery provides for something not often seen in what you call a crime movie. But of course, I couldn't talk about characters without talking about the main duos of both movies. In Gimme the Loot, we have Ty Hickson and Tashiana Washington as Malcolm and Sophia. While their performances can be a bit spotty at times, I like these two for their personalities and love them for their friendship. It's refreshing to see a non-romantic relationship portrayed this way. While they are constantly pestering each other throughout the film, they are also deeply caring for each other and always have the other's back. In Tramps, Callum Turner and Grace Van Patten play Danny and Ellie. These two are so well defined from the very beginning of the film. Danny is Polish-American and lives with his mother and brother. They run some kind of betting service through their small apartment, while his brother Darren also works with various small criminals. You can tell through Turner's performance that while he doesn't necessarily want to be doing anything illegal, he knows it's just something that must be done for them to stay afloat. He also loves to cook, and instead of just being told that, we see him smiling while he does it, and putting effort into even just an everyday dinner. Ellie has a great introduction as well. We see her sneaking onto trains, hopping turnstiles, and looking longingly at a group of girls at a bar as she is trying to get out of her relationship. We also see her reading a few times throughout the movie, and even at one point smelling a book she finds in the rich family's house. I love the little character moments like this, such as when Danny takes the time to make them sandwiches while they were stealing food. The actors have great chemistry, and I loved following their stories and decisions. The duos in both Gimme the Loot and Tramps are not typical movie criminals, and their traits and flaws make them people you can't help but root for. The films of Adam Leon know how to move and know when to slow down. They are filled with interesting, complex, and imperfect characters, and reflect the dirt, joy, and love that comes from the streets they're made on.
The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord